So welcome. Thank you so much for coming on, Evie.
Thank you.
So you were, again, like a lot of the people I'm interviewing on these live streams are some of the first people I encountered when I got into prediction markets. So you were one of the first accounts that I saw pop
Oh,
up.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think well, yeah. Well, like when I first got in, I think you were one of the first accounts I saw. I don't even know if you were associated with Polymarket, but I just saw
No,
your
no,
account.
very recent, just like this month.
Yeah, yeah. I just basically saw your account. I kept seeing it pop up and stuff. So I was really interested to have you on, and I know you're building stuff,
Oh,
and yeah,
thank you
I'm
so
just
much. That's so
yeah,
cool that
it's
you said like, yeah, one of the first accounts. I think like
yeah.
my first prediction market tweet was like 2 months ago, something like that. Probably three.
It's happened really fast. I think like a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
so fast. Like it's like the funniest thing. I was at an event like like in San Francisco we had like tech week and I met this guy and I was like, "Oh, you're in prediction markets." He's like, "Yeah. How long have you been in prediction markets?" I'm like, 2 months. He's like, "I've been a little longer." I'm like, "How much?" Like 4. I'm
yeah,
like I'm like, "Yeah, we're in that time."
which is like 5 years in crypto time. I don't
Yeah.
know what your background in crypto. So would you introduce yourself? Like, do you have a background? Like, did you come into
Do I have
crypto
a
through?
background?
Well, yeah. Well, do you?
I do have, yeah,
Well,
I do have a background. Well, actually, like my background was I started when I was 12 years old in social media. So I'm
mhm.
originally from Latvia and I became like the first and biggest YouTuber at the time. So that's why like all of my content I work on, like prediction market wise, is very like video-y and meme because that's just something I know and I've been doing all my life. And then like more than a decade experience. And then 4 years ago approximately, I got really into tech and I launched my own dating app, which was supposed to be an on-chain dating app where we have like right now they had these like AI avatars, like basically instead of pictures you would have AI avatars. Then you had to do a challenge, and then after completing the challenge you unlock the full profile. I really wanted them to be NFTs instead of like AI images. And Latvia is like a really small country. Like the community of crypto is like on my 5 fingers. And when I was talking to the guys, I was like, guys, I really want to do this. Like, get me in. They were like, like get out of it. This is not your space. And so I launched it on Web 2, and it became like a normal, typical AI app. But yeah, but what I love about prediction markets is even though like I started as almost like the only woman in prediction markets, the community has been so welcoming, and everybody's like, yeah, we need more women. Come on in, go in. And I'm like, okay, let's try again. Let's do this again. So yeah, that's my background. Social media, tech, and now I guess finance too.
So you basically got in a similar way to how I got in, which is through like the crypto rails, basically. And I'm assuming you got in at a similar time. So you got in at how early have you been in prediction markets, I guess? Or when did you get it? Because I feel like you definitely got
Well,
started
yeah.
before.
In this summer I had this new business idea that I wanted to do, and we're going to talk a little bit about EXO I assume later, but before this it was like when I like launched the dating app, I realized dating is a scam, and I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm building a new project where I'm going to allow people to short like and long relationships. Like basically you can short people's relationships, and the app was supposed to be called DS, like dating is a scam. And then the more I was like looking into it, the more legal problems I got with it because you apparently can't really like short real people's emotions and relationships. Otherwise, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. So I was like, okay. And then I started looking into prediction markets. And I was like, this is very interesting. This is very, very interesting. Why is nobody doing that with dating? Like, you can place bets on anything, but why are people not like placing bets on dating? So then I had this idea of creating like a matchmaking company where we match people, we issue a number that's like of the match, and then people can bet against that number. And I was like really into it. I was like, already made like an interface, like a whole prototype, everything. And the more people I talked to, they were like, there is no game psychology on betting like on a number. Like who cares about that? And it's like, you're right. So then I like took like a side back, and then I started really researching, and that's about the time when I started writing up prediction markets, because I started like actually researching the game psychology for women and men, the psychology of like betting in general. And then I met this like really cool guy Chris in New York, and we kind of brainstormed about my idea, and I was like, I really want to like incorporate dating into prediction markets, but also allow real people to like do this. And so we ended up to this like live streaming betting idea for like any like live streaming viral moments and events, and starting with dating, just so I can incorporate my little dating brand rage I have in me.
Yeah, that's such an interesting idea to like. Hold on, I'm getting a little lag on my side. I'm just going to shut my camera off for a minute. But yeah, it's such an interesting idea too, because basically what you're saying is like I feel like prediction markets applied to dating is such a new frontier because again, like you know you can kind of like predict like what types of people are going to get together or what types of people are going to match together, and it's an area where there's a lot of like mystery, I guess. Like not a lot of people have guidance on how to go into a date or how to go into a situation like that. So I'm wondering like, is this kind of the idea that you're working on right now? Because I pulled up I think this is your project
Yes.
here.
So technically, like, you're absolutely right. Like, people make predictions every single day. Like, even when I was, when you're dating, like you go and you think, oh, is he going to be 5 minutes late, or is he going to be on time? Are we gonna have one drink or not? Am I gonna end up at his house or not? Like, should I shave or not? Like you make these predictions prior to the date. And so that was kind of what I was like first like wanted to do with the whole like dating prediction thing and like implementing it. But this is a little bit different. So the way it works, like actually the problem I'm solving, and the biggest problem I think I'm solving with this project, is insider trading. So even though there's a lot of like cultural markets right now on Poly Market and other prediction markets, those markets happen, they're like basically happen before the event, right? So you can start like betting on like, oh, who's going to win XYZ. And the market resolves obviously after the event has happened. So what I wanted to do is kind of like these like fast paced, like I almost call them like ADHD markets, where let's say we issue an in-house show, we're going to start with dating, and the market opens with the event happening, meaning we take all accountability like of taking social media and any access to the market from the people that are actually participating in this live show, and we're the ones like opening the market. And like let's say imagine there is like a couple, they're on a date, they're just like on a regular casual date, and the market could be like, will they mention their exes, will they order the same drink, will she answer the question on the
Oh,
card.
interesting.
So it's like a really like fast paced like market opens with the event happening. And yeah, and that was like what I kind of wanted to solve with the whole game psychology, because my first ever tweet that I wrote about prediction markets was, we need more culture markets. And that was the time when like there were a couple like culture markets here and there, but like not the whole Taylor Swift boom we're having right now. And I said like we need more like implementation into like fashion and this and that. And so many prediction market builders and in general like people in the space reached out to me and were like Evie, tell us like what kind of market should we do, like what women are interested in, blah blah blah. And I'm like giving them all these ideas, and I'm thinking, wait, like it's not build it and they will come. It doesn't work like that. Like we have a completely different game psychology. So you had to take a staple, like I had to take a step back and realize that actually like women's psychology, and that's the reason why we love games like bingo and slot machines and not so much like poker, that are very like high risk strategic games that men enjoy, is that our way of betting comes through social presence. Like we need to feel like we're social like with like other people, and relaxation. So it's not so much like high risk high reward, it's more like, is going to help me relax, and can I make money from it? So it's like more like that way of entertainment. And I was like, okay, so women do like reality shows, women do watch reality TV, so do men. Why don't I combine those two components and give an opportunity for people to bet real time, because you actually have an edge because you watch these shows all the time and you can kind of read people's emotions and what they're going to say or not do or do, per se.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's almost like a mention market kind of. That's the way it kind of
Mention
seems.
market, yeah, well, it's technically like this the whole like I guess like strategy of it. It's like kind of like a mention market, but it's not just mentions, because it's not just like what they're gonna say, it might be also like what they're gonna do or not do.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really, and I think the would there be like, so in terms of like the way it works, would there be like kind of people, because what I'm imagining is like people kind of watching a stream of like people on a date. This might not be how it is at all, but like people kind of watching two people on a stream, having a date or something like that, or something like that. Like, is there external people betting on it, or is it you yourself going into the situation betting on what the other person's going to do?
No, no, no. So the people actually on a date, they have no access to the market whatsoever. They're just people like on the show. Like think of what's the show American Ninja where they like jump
Oh yeah,
over those things. Like think of something like that, not just dating. Forget about dating. Like it can be any show. Think of like you're watching a show like that and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's going to fail or he's going to make it or he's going to be the first one." Like I'm just betting on that. Like it's just like a bet, but like the only difference between like any other like cultural like market where you bet on like live events, we are happening real time. So the whole like thing we provide is that the market like it's really fast. So like the moment it starts with the live stream. The moment it ends with the live stream ending. Well, obviously we would have to like resolve like the XYZ, but yeah, pretty much like super fast paced. And yeah, I think it would be like very interesting for people to try out, especially the ones that have never tried doing that. And obviously like the people I would invite, let's say for the first dating shows, would be people that already have like a trading audience in order for them to have an audience of people that want to trade and like already know how to do that. Let's say like content creators and KOLs that do talk about trading, whether it's like option trading, futures, prediction markets, and already like the people that know about it.
yeah, and live streaming is just going to be huge. I mean, like with
Oh, it
like
already is.
yeah, and when you add prediction markets into the mix, like when you add things like this into the mix, where you're live gambling on like different events and out these like kind of game show type situations, like this is like the perfect application for prediction markets, I think. And like just on our side, like we've definitely taken like a content first approach ourselves because in this industry in crypto, so just to give you some background on me, I built a I completely agree with you. My first startup that I built was called Raise.win, which was like a copy trading protocol. We just built the protocol. We just like it was kind of like to build it, and we expected them to come approach, and just no one ever came. So like so with this with Polyfactual, we were like, okay, let's lead with content. Let's start with that. Let's try and capture
Yeah,
as
you
much
have to
money
build
as
the
we can.
audience of the people that understand it.
Yeah, because it's attention based. It's like an attention based industry for sure.
Mm.
So I think that that's pretty interesting that that you're kind of combining those two things. And yeah, in terms of so what I'm imagining is kind of like a Twitch mixed with mention markets a little bit.
Well, yeah, also like like I mean China is a little bit ahead of this. Like they have this app called Why Not, I think it's called. So Why Not is basically a live stream shopping like TikTok. It's basically TikTok, but it's all like just live streams and just shopping. So let's say like I want to sell my clothes, I'll go in a live stream and I'll just show people like clothes and they can buy it real time. So it's already proven like a concept. So like I would go on like TikTok in real time. Like I don't have to go to like external links or anything. Everything happens on an app. It's like a huge app in China. And so this is basically like the same thing. Like I'm scrolling, I'm watching a live stream, and I want to put $5 in whether she's going to say XYZ or not. So it's like already kind of a proven concept. Just like let's incorporate prediction markets instead of like buying clothes. Like you can just like double your income or something. So
Yeah.
so that's how I'm thinking of it. But like regarding like you said, oh, like bringing the audience that like I had the same issue with my dating app because I launched it in Latvia originally. I have this like audience that I kind of like converted onto my users, so I would teach everybody of how to use the app because it was not like a standard app, like the whole like AI challenges, this and that, create avatar aspect. So I would teach them for 3 months straight, like every single day I would post like 10 stories and like educate everybody on how to use that. In like 4 months we got 10K users with no like funding, nothing. And then when I came to New York, I started telling people about it, and like I saw a pattern that people wouldn't go past sign up, not because the app was bad, but because they didn't understand how it works. Like
Yeah.
because you have to educate people, and the same thing is with prediction markets. Is like, so many people are like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like I've heard about it." But like they won't touch it because they know how to use don't know how to use it. So we as creators, like our whole like ideology is that we have to teach them, and it's okay like if you don't understand it or nothing. Like we have to like as a community help people grow and educate them on that.
Yeah. Do you find that with some of the people you're talking to, do you find that it's easier to get people like do you find that there's more of a click with prediction market stuff that you're building? Like in terms of like, is it just easier for people to understand and wrap their head around in terms of, onboarding and things like that?
I think that it's it's a really hypey industry right now. So 3 months ago it wasn't that hypey. 3 months ago it was like, what is this? How do we what? Like there were just few creators that were writing about it. Right now, I like open my like timeline and it's just like prediction market this, prediction market super cycle, this and that and that. So I think that a lot of people get like catch on the hype. So it's like easy for them to like, oh, this is a great way for me to like grow my channel or for me to find something about to write at, like because it's so new that people are engaging with stuff. So you might be a nobody, but you might start writing about prediction markets, bam, and you have like so many followers. So I think it's like a really hype it like crypto space. Like it always happens like that. Something new happens and everybody wants a piece of the cake. But I think that it's going to like go up. Like the odds are gonna go up and then they're gonna go down. So we're gonna have like a lot of like crazy creator time, and then it's going to like finally stay where the like the real like traders or creators are gonna stay and like most people are gonna go away. But I think like crypto space, I think Nick Pressler like said like a really good thing. He had an interview like 2 months ago from Melee Markets. He was talking about how, crypto is all speculation and this is like the highest form of speculation. And I think it's like it's for high risk people and people who love the space and have always like loved speculating on crypto and joining a bunch of products. Prediction markets might be like the easiest way for them to learn, and for people that have never been in the space, like for them to learn and get onboarded. So yeah.
Yeah, it's speculation on everything. It's I was looking at that Polymarket banner the other day when they put it over the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh
I was
yeah.
looking at and I was thinking like, yeah, we've literally gone like our economy first of all is fully information based, fully market based, and it's we're heading into this era of history where it's everything is speculation, everything is a market, or everything can be turned into a market. And even to the point where there's this new interesting concept called futarchy. I'm not sure, which is like being kind of pushed around on social media now, which is the idea that markets, that we can even replace democracy with markets, because markets can
You,
tell us
you
what's
know
going to
what?
happen.
I wrote a
Yeah,
tweet about it. Like I had this idea of like, and I wrote almost like an article exactly about this like a month ago, and like every single friend I showed were like, "Don't publish it, don't do
really.
it. Like you're gonna get into so much trouble." And like everybody's talking about it right now, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah.
the sign that you should do it is when everyone says don't
No,
do
they
it.
were
It's
like,
like
"You're gonna get canceled if you talk about it." I'm like, okay.
that's really interesting. So basically you were going to write about futarchy and just like the fact that we could do this, and people were like, no, 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 not
Mm-hmm.
yet. Don't do this yet.
I mean, like, if we're talking about democracy, like, are we really talking about giving people the voice? Well, now there's an option to do that. It's called Bully Market, and you can see all the odds. But yeah, I was just like thinking of like specific like events. Like this is like an interesting thing of like what's going to happen in the future. We have this like mainstream media in the news, and like this like conspiracy that's not even a conspiracy has been going around of like all news are fake, and like most people like you know we're fed the things that we need to believe in order for this like country to work XYZ. So I'm just like thinking prediction markets for the first time is like a place where you can actually go and see how people really think and like
Mhm.
what really are the odds. And I'm just like really hope that we're going to keep that, and I really hope that it's not going to get acquired by something and eventually it's going to be fake too and go into mainstream. I really hope that we're going to keep it as it is, because for the first time I feel like people have a voice, and this is the real democracy of like us thinking of XYZ and actually placing bets on that.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too because as like I'm going back to that old like Bill Ackman's tweet about Eric Adams when he's like, Polymarket says you should drop out. And
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, yeah, this is like you're able to replace many, theoretically, if you can predict the outcome, right? If we assume that democracy is reactive and you're creating policies reacting to situations, maybe prediction markets would create policies that are getting ahead of the situation, preemptive. So it's a weird territory that we're getting into, I think.
No,
It's gonna,
exactly. Did you saw
yeah,
like there was some tweet or something that some like I don't remember what it was, but like those were like 2 days ago. It was like, oh, we're gonna investigate Polymarket. Oh, about like somebody getting the Nobel Prize winner. It's
yeah,
like, oh, we're gonna investigate Polymarket because like how did they know that it happened? Like, how did they know who's gonna win? Like, because like
yeah.
we have to finally get people a voice. Like, it's like,
Who was it?
you know.
I think I have his Twitter account. But yeah, they found like the insider. There was like an interview that was done on him.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I think Phantom Bets did like an interview with the insider. But yeah, it's very interesting, like this insider stuff that's happening on chain, on Polymarket. Well, specifically on Polymarket because it's on chain and you can track the insiders. But yeah, it's super interesting.
You know what would be a cool idea? If you could like almost create a market against a journalist. Like let's say you issue a news article and you could bet like whether it's fake or not and like against a journalist and like see if like he published something real or not, like just to like I guess like track the fake news and the real news and like almost like allow people to speak on it like, oh, this happen or this didn't happen.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, like
it's funny.
fake news type of. Yeah, that's another thing it could be used for. Like you could aggregate, it's a great aggregator, so you can kind of, I think there was some app that I saw which was like dedicated to making fake news on like the Polymarket
Mhm.
builders list or something like that. But yeah, I think that would be a kind of a cool idea.
No,
Um,
seriously, I was never like a really big news girl. Like I would go on my Instagram and see like something and I'd be like, "Oh, that happened. That's so interesting." And right now, I go on like the same social media and I see the news and I'm like, I saw this like 2 weeks ago on Polymarket. Like, what are we talking about? It's
yeah,
just funny.
yeah. So I'm curious too, like if what what markets are you looking at right now? Because I was going through your social media and I was seeing that you're, yeah, I mean, kind of like on that subject. I saw that you were kind of looking a little bit at the Taylor Swift mentioned markets on YouTube. You did a YouTube video,
Yeah.
which I'm super curious about because I'm trying to get more into mention markets. And then I also saw that you were looking at Elizabeth Holmes. So it's kind of it's kind of a two-part question, but I'm just curious, like what you're trading, what you're looking at, and I know you have some opinions on that you told me, earlier before too. But just yeah,
I would say I'm gonna first of all, don't take any trading advice from me. I don't have any financial background. I got into trading very recently, and I got into trading with prediction markets. So for me, like as I said, like it was all like I want to build it. I want to like be a builder. I want to be in the building space. Then as more research that I was doing, I was like, okay, actually, I want to start trading, and it was like $5, $10 here and there, and then I started moving into like bigger sums, but in no way like am I like a professional trader. I'm learning as everybody else. I would say like what I'm choosing it is between like two things. One is culture because I have an edge in that as a woman. I watch all these shows, like I can ask my girlfriends, even the Taylor Swift markets have never I don't sorry, honestly, I'm not a Swiftie. I know maybe two of her songs from like 2009 or 16 or whatever was the time when she was popular. But I don't know anything about I haven't listened to the new album. Yet I have so many girlfriends that are Swifties, and all I have to do is just send them a WhatsApp message and be like, "Hey, what do you think she's going to say?" Or like, "Hey, what do you think is the worst song on her album?" And they're like, "This and that." I'm like gathering couple like it's like empirical data. Like I'm like just like asking a couple of girls. I'm like, okay, I guess I have like my traits. And then the other one is like FOMO. So that was kind of what happened with me with the Monad market and the Elizabeth Holmes market. So it's like, okay, people are talking about it, people are tweeting about it. There's like, okay, like like when you're on Twitter and you're reading all about it, you feel this insane FOMO, like, oh, I'm gonna trade it. So
yeah,
so I traded a yes on Elizabeth Holmes. or no, wait, sorry, what was it? Check. I don't even remember. It's been switching all the time. Um, yeah, and so I don't know, my internet's still working. The problem with Elizabeth Holmes is like I wrote a tweet about it. The thing was like how do what's the oracle for that? How do we see what it results? Because I even I should publish it on Twitter. I texted Elizabeth Holmes on her DM, and I sent her a DM and I was like, "Hey Elizabeth, what do you think about prediction markets?" And she said, I love prediction markets. I think it's a great way to like predict the future. The most chat GPT answer you can give me. And I'm like, okay, who is running this? Oh, I traded no on Elizabeth Holmes. Here we go. So now I'm like thinking I want to trade yes because like it's going up, you know? So I was like, who is running this? Like, is it some guy or a girl that's like has a deal with her? Do they have a contract? Is it like an NDA? Is like if he launches a coin, does she know about it? Like, or is it like a random, like I could make an account right now and say I'm Elizabeth Holmes and make a like drop a token, and like does that count?
Yeah, it's very weird. Like the whole Elizabeth Holmes stuff is very weird because people are like saying on Twitter like or X that she's like following them randomly, and it's like okay, well, why is she like and now we have this market like will she drop a toe? It's actually the market I wanted to ask you about just because yeah, I mean I don't even know if you've been tracking it, but I just based off that one tweet, I was like, well, is there a chance here? Because out of all the Elizabeth Holmes markets, this is probably the only one with the highest probability. And I know you said you also like to trade like within
D-
a certain risk range. Like you said, I think that you don't like to pick up the 20%. You like to pick up like the
yeah.
40 to 70.
So for me personally, like my like perfect like middle ground is like 40 to 70. Like I look at that, I'm like, okay, that means like there is like a certain like, you know, edge in that, and also like I have the wisdom of the crowd that can like back it up. But like with these like really small markets, but on the Elizabeth Holmes market, I honestly caught the FOMO. I like placed a limit order on it and I was like, but now like it all because of that one tweet. Like you see that this is like an experienced trader's like way of thinking is like you see that one tweet like, oh, I'm not dropping any coins, like do whatever you want with it, and then you see like 10 people say like tweeting like in magic internet money, like this is basically free money, why would you miss it? And I'm like, why wouldn't I? And then you look into it and you're like, wait, now let's think about XYZ. Who is running this? Who is launching this? How do I even know it's real? And like this is like real money I'm putting on it. So I
Yeah.
think with like these like really FOMO markets, just like only do limit orders, because then at least you can like protect your assets. But yeah, like regarding markets, I think a really good way to try out if you're like a new in prediction markets is either like placing bets on markets like like let's say shows you watch, or something like, oh, you watch the Oscars, you're like a fan of movies, okay, that's one market you can try trading, like even if you don't want to touch anything else, like just try one thing. Or maybe you're like really into the whole IPO stuff and you have like maybe some information or edge into what do you think is going to go IPO, or whether someone's going to go into IPO at all. But like the perfect one for like people who are just starting is because it's just so fun, are mention markets, like just betting on words. Isn't that like crazy? And it
Yeah.
also is kind of like what I'm doing with like XO Live, and that's why I love these markets, because it's kind of also like for me it's like a research project. It's like testing of like how that works from my perspective. And also like with mention markets, what's interesting is like I wrote a tweet about that when Taylor Swift market resolved, was like it's a no mention market. Because like when you think about it, it's like most people say yes, 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 she's going to say that. But like an interesting thing is like maybe she's not going to say any of those words, and which actually happened to Taylor Swift market. Like she almost said none of those words. So actually maybe a good thing is just to trade all no's.
Yeah, that's what I found. I found that like a lot of times, especially, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because with the Trump markets, and, can you hear me by the way? I think my virtual background
I
shut
can hear
off.
you perfectly.
Okay, good. So what I was saying is, with Trump, it's like usually a lot of yeses, right? It's really weird because when you trade Trump mentioned markets, it's like you kind of know what he's going to say, and there's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of times you can hit like a dartboard. I mean, you could throw like a dart at it, and you'd probably win. But like there's so many markets, especially the markets that don't have a lot of backlog data, like the South
Mhm.
Park markets. It's usually all no's. I think the last one we had was like the only one that was mentioned was Polymarket, and then everything
Yeah.
else was just a complete no. So trading no, fading those mentions, I think is a huge strategy that is super
That's actually
undervalued.
a really good trading strategy to think about it. Like when I sent my girlfriends the Taylor Swift market, they were like, "Oh, it's hard to say even for the Swifties because she doesn't do those shows very often. So you don't have any like you can't like send a link to AI and be like, what are the words Taylor Swift says the most? You know, whether you can do that with Trump because he just like yaps all the time, or like Powell, like he has so many speeches happening right now. You can kind of have like this, like you can see like how the couple of markets have already traded before and like what he has said, and then based on that data, you can like trade other markets or like the first market you ever want to trade, like because you already have that data. But for like these South Park markets or Taylor Swift markets, if you don't have that much data, or like you can run it through an algorithm and like see what they will say, like it's more like a no market, no mention market, so it's better to trade no's. It's actually a really
Yeah.
smart way to think about that.
Yeah, it's just something I've observed. I've just just but I'm sure like the Taylor Swift markets will get more and more. Yes, because the people making it are gonna know more about,
Yeah,
um
but think about also like media training, like Trump says whatever he wants, right? And he
mhm.
doesn't care. Taylor
Mhm.
Swift, she's media trained. She has, let's say, 15 minutes on a show or like 30 minutes on a show, and in those 30 minutes she has to say all the right things, sell her product, blah blah blah. She's like super media trained, so there is only like a few words she can say or mention. So it's a really, like, you have to think about that when you're doing that, like what's your airtime and how much you can say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good point. In terms of like just media trading, what's the agenda of the person who's like speaking? Like the one thing that you always get with Powell is like, whether it's good. I think he said it today too, because there was a
Pardon.
Powell. Yeah, right.
Sheesh.
Or good afternoon too. Good
Yeah.
afternoon is one that. But yeah, that's like consider what the goal of the person is. Consider the media training. Consider the fact that Trump kind of disregards that just in general. Um, so okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about because you wrote this recent tweet, Polly Batty Bird book,
Probably
uh,
Betty Byrne book.
which I am super. Polly Batty's. I kind of asked you a little bit about it like beforehand, but no one seems to know who started it or who where it came from. It just kind of came in on its own almost. That's what it seems to be. Uh, and the community is really interesting. And I just wanted to kind of ask you about this kind of burn book that you wrote, which is to me it seems like it's almost like for people just entering the prediction market space who might not be super experienced traders. It's kind of a guide, like kind of like a cursory guide for them to just kind of hit see and get like a basic intro. Um, that was kind of my takeaway, and there's some interesting stuff in there. So I just wondered if you wanted to kind of elaborate, talk about a little bit.
Yeah, well, like this is a little bit of still is a guy's play, right? Like we're in prediction market space where it's like a little bit of a guy's play because it's finance and trading and all of that, and like not a lot of women have been part of it. And now we start this like whole Polly Batty thing, which is great, I think, because my whole agenda was like, let's bring women in prediction markets. By the way, I honestly don't know who started either. I just know that couple of people that are helping do it.
Yeah.
um so yeah, um including me. I think I'm a moderator for it, by the way, which is interesting.
You were
But
like
yeah,
the
but
first one I saw in it. So
yeah,
I was
yeah.
so
No,
so
I
you told me
started
you
like
don't know the
writing
founder.
into this like quirky like Paris Hilton slash Elle Woods style, and then I was like, you know what, this like it's a perfect fit. So love doing that. Like trying to get more baddies into poly market and prediction markets in general. But like, yeah, what happened is I saw that Twitter is a very bullying free space. Like, I mean, like, there's a lot of bullying, and like, you have to even like, I think when I made a new account for Polymarket, and somebody flagged it and was like, this girl, what the frick she knows about prediction markets? Like, look, she just made this like one Taylor mention. I found everything about her, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I've been in this space 2 months. Like, I have traded like with small trades. I specifically made a public account so people can watch what I'm doing and like see my journey of like either doing really well or failing, which is also okay. Like, that's why I'm doing it publicly and transparently. Like, and what I wrote basically in this book is like, like kind of when I felt like when I went to crypto and there were little guys that were ahead of me, I wanted them to teach me and I would learn at my own pace, but like I would learn. But they were like, no, you don't get it. Like you're past it. Like it's too late. And I don't want for other women, like for that to happen to other women in the prediction market space. Even if you want to wear poly merch and like, write about prediction market super cycle over and over again and never trade, that's fine. Because if that's going to bring us other people that like try to trade in space or do something in the space, that's great. That's already like an accomplishment. And so what I wrote basically in this is like they're going to be great people, they're going to be great builders, and they're going to be great traders. And they're also going to be people that are being great storytellers. Like, think about a show, like a reality show there or like a movie. There's like people who are great at acting and there are people who are great at doing the production, okay? And we need both of those people to make a movie. So in prediction markets, like if like everybody who wants to go in, whether you're just starting, you're learning, even if you don't understand it, it's totally fine. Write about it. We're gonna find you. We're gonna help you. Like if you have any questions, ask. And that was like the whole rule book I wrote. Like don't nag on people for not knowing how to trade or being bad at it. We've all been into space for like 2, 3 months. Take a chill pill, go back to your laptop, trade or write about it. Like
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's also interesting that people would do that in this space because clearly there's people that are trying to game every single market. They're trying to watch like all 7,000 markets or something like that, and that's good. But like everyone has like niche experience, right? So it's like you can't really, there's going to be something that other people are good at that you're not good at. Like I can't trade
exactly.
certain markets, so it's definitely it's definitely hard to eventually they're going to make markets that are specifically tailored for someone like me that I can trade. So
Yeah.
like I feel like it's definitely, yeah, it's kind of a come as you are type of space just in general. That's the vibe that I'm getting. I don't
Hmm.
know, it sounds like you kind of feel the same way,
Yeah.
but that's.
No, but look, mentioned markets weren't there. Like I was trading like here and there, like a couple of things that I'm like interested in. I've lost so many bets, like you don't even know, like so negative Evie. Like but then I was like, okay, like here's my edge. This is what I understand. Plus I'm also doing it for research. Would I call myself a trader? Probably not, because I would, call myself a trader if I was doing it like full time every day, like, you know, many hours a day, which I'm not. It's more like I'm interested in something. I think I have an edge in that. I'll make a trade. Okay, that went really well. I'll try it again. And so it's like a learning curve, right? And like maybe in a year I will sit in my laptop and do this full time. But right now it's just like I'm a builder. I'm also a storyteller and I'm also like talking on my Twitter and trying to onboard people. And I also trade in full time. And like there are like three paths I'm going right now. They all might connect and collide into one eventually, or I might choose one of those. And it doesn't mean that I'm like worse or better than someone. It means like I have just a different role in prediction markets, and so does everybody. So it's totally fine. Let's just all be nice in the space and accept everybody who's coming in. There's no better or worse. Let's just, make a great. That's my prediction.
Yeah. So I kind of want to ask you too, as someone who definitely one of the first people that I saw get a badge, like a trader badge. I wanted to ask you, like, what's your take on the we could talk politely about it, but what's your take on like the badge
Badge
wars
Wars.
that are going on here? Because like I'm super curious about it. We got a builder's badge a while ago, but now it's like it seems like it's blowing up into a meta almost. So just as someone in the trading ecosystem yourself, I just wanted to see like if you had an opinion on it.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna say anything about a specific market or anything like at all. But in general, well, we have to understand, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a funny thing that all of these companies are mostly run by 20-year-olds. Like the crypto space in general is ran by 20-year-olds, and it's great and it's awesome. But it also comes with like a an interesting way of playing the game. And what it
Mm.
kind of like when the whole badge war thing happened, to me it looks like, like in Mean Girls, there's the scene where there's like the losers, the jacks, the like the pretty girls, the la la, and I'm like, well, okay, everybody gets a badge. So like I guess like, you choose your team and you're playing it. Um I think like these companies, when both of these companies acquired so much money and investments, and I think that they're trying to like build their team and have their own people that will talk about them, which is great. So I think these like badge things are just like helping you kind of like certify like which side are you playing or like where you're trading. So once people like read about you as a prediction market trader and be like, oh, okay, this like let's say Evie, she's trading on prediction markets, she's talking about prediction markets, I'm gonna follow her. Okay, she's associated with Polymarket, so I might like go to Polymarket to try that out. So it's like a great way of like immediately like whatever the content I'm making, I'm kind of helping people to understand exactly the platform that I'm doing that on. But
Mm.
the whole badge war things, like again, like I don't like when there's like any bullying happening or like, oh, we're not gonna like it because it's culture, or oh, we're not gonna like it because it's poly market or like this and that, or like, oh, I'm gonna write something really mean because they're from the opposite team. 2 months ago. There was no one in prediction markets. Please, everybody, chill. Like, it's okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine. Like, people might switch teams. Like, you might go from the mean girl to nerds. Like, it's totally fine. I just want, like, it's cool. And I'm really happy that I have this badge and that I'm associated with something because I love Polymarket, and I think it's a great platform, and I'm really happy to work with the team, and the team has been super nice to me. The guys that like are also fellow traders, like they're really nice and they're helping me to understand more things, and also just like liking my tweets, and it's like always nice like to feel as a girl in a guys group. So I'm really happy where I am, and yeah, regarding the badge wars, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Maybe more badges are gonna fly around, but yeah, I think it's like more of a crypto thing. Like I don't I can't imagine, like, I don't know, open AI or someone like throwing badges around.
That would be hilarious if they did that. If OpenAI was like versus Claude, and they were just like, "Yeah, get your Claude badge, like with the memes
Yeah.
and everything like that." That would be
Yeah.
that would be
I'm
funny.
like, I'm from deep sea.
Yeah, right. YouTube would be crazy. That would be the one that it'd be like the controversial one. It'd be like the
Yeah, they were like one like
So I wanted to ask you, so in terms of so one of the things you wanted to talk about, and you talked a little bit about it already. So again, like if you've already mentioned it, apologies. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about bringing women into the prediction market space. I know you wanted to talk about it a little bit. Do you see prediction markets being accelerating in that area? Like, do you see that as huge growth in this with PMs in terms of just bringing women in.
yeah. Well, like I've asked, like I was really interested, and I asked a couple of prediction markets of like, what's the number of women, you know, using prediction markets. They're all like, oh, like we don't have any numbers. I don't know. We can't give you any numbers. And then like I think somebody tweeted under my, I wrote a tweet about like I assume there's like maybe 5% or like 10% max of like women in prediction markets, and somebody like sent their like chart of a prediction market. It was like 3%, and I was like, okay. Again, like I think especially like with, I mean, like right now, like the biggest volume is sports. Women don't bet on sports. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. And maybe if like you're watching sports with your boyfriend and he plays the trade and you're like, okay, I might do that too. I've had guys around me like trade sports all my life. I never went into that. Like it's just something I never do. But then when the culture markets appear and the more they happen, I was like, oh, I'm interested in that topic. I consume social media every day. I might do it. So I think like a great way to onboard women, if we just simply want to get them into culture markets, is actually promoting it through Web 2, not Web 3. So like all the social media and Instagram and TikTok that we have, like all of the like celebrity gossip and collaborating with like Overheard New York or Overheard LA and all those other groups like on Instagram, like collaborating with them and trying to onboard people to like, hey, did you see about Kylie and Timothy? Like, do you want to bet on that as well? Like instead of just building it on crypto, because I mean talking about it in the crypto space, because like let's be honest, like so many girls in the crypto space are not doing anything in the crypto space. They're just like there to get more men in the crypto space. But if we're talking about getting more women, I think we should really like think about the Web2 audience and like the mainstream media. And then, as I said, yeah, like the game psychology is a really important aspect because just culture markets, they're not gonna magically wake up one day and gonna be like, I'm gonna open Poly Market and make a bet on Taylor Swift. Like it's not gonna happen. So, what is the way that it could happen? Like, could we somehow implement it into fun events? Could we maybe we could collaborate with celebrities? Like, you know how like big streaming companies like Kick and Twitch would collaborate with streamers to get more people into the space. What if we collaborate with a big celebrity? What if, you know, something like that happens? That's how we onboard people. That's how we tell them about that. And also it's not just like, oh, it's fun way, bet money, blah blah blah. It's actually an educational thing to educate people that hey, you can actually like think about the girlies and their gossip, like love for gossip, them giving an opportunity to know the news 2 weeks before they actually happen. That's a marketing strategy. Like that's something I would look into if I didn't know anything about prediction markets. So these are like the ways to go. Like think about how you can onboard the mainstream like people like using mainstream media. And yeah, and I think like also, you know, studying game psychology in general, of like we see things differently. So the UX wise, the way we you know, like if I go on Polymarket and like the first thing I see is like, oh, limit orders, order books, this and that, like my eyes go everywhere because I don't have any, you know, trading background, and then I had to learn all of that. But let's say if you have something like very very easy for the women, like let's say a very simple UX, like this that, like then that's easier for them to do that, because first impressions is really important. Just like you go on a date with a guy, he leaves a bad first impression, you might not go on the next one. So when you go on something like that and you get a first good impression and it was easy for you and maybe you even won some money, or like the news came out and they were exactly the ones that you like traded, like that may onboard people on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, UX is everything. It's not just for women too. Like so many guys would be onboarded with better UX. I mean, like you go in there and you're right. Like you see, you see the order book, you see like everything is kind of all over the place. And I think prediction markets are if you could get them to a point where they have the same UX as like a news feed, as like, when you log on to like a news site, you see the same thing.
That's actually really good, like scrolling, just
Yeah,
like that would be really
exactly.
cool.
Scrolling and betting and just making it super simple. I think that's when you see the masses come on because they're already using it for news. They're already using. I mean, most of Polymarket's users are actually just viewers, just
Yeah.
viewing, but they have like so much mind share through that. So if you could figure out how to kind of streamline that. The other thing I think, which be interesting to see the stats on women, would be during election cycles, because I bet you there's a lot of women at least viewing Polymarket during elections. Uh,
Definitely.
I'm sure that number goes up because politics is huge. So that's one of the things that I that drew me into prediction markets. I definitely got in through the political stuff. That's what caught my interest. That's how I first got in, not the sports stuff or anything like that.
Well,
Uh,
that's the second biggest, I think,
yeah.
politics. I'm also curious if like there's some AI like algorithm, because you know like when I read the news, like news are feeding me the things that, you know, they know that I love. So it would be cool if in prediction markets I didn't have to like, of course there are like filters that like you can filter out like what you want, like specific celebrities or whatever. You can do that. But it would be cool if I would go on my like profile and I would get like, hey Evie, we think you would like this. And I'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, let me look into that. Like, oh, we think you have an edge in this. That already like encourages you because like it's like a compliment almost, and you're like, huh, I might be good at this. Like, if this platform thinks I'm good in this, maybe, you know, like that's also a way to onboard women.
That would be interesting. Yeah, some sort of algo recommendation system would be
Yeah.
would be interesting. And that's kind of what you're doing with your
So
product.
many great ideas. Everything I'm saying, whatever, whoever wants to copy that, I own 8%.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so many great ideas have been just mentioned here. People are just gonna get a like so as a founder, like you're building in public, right? You're building like openly. How does that feel? Is that new for you? Like, do you prefer to build in stealth? Do you prefer to, because that's how I built my first thing. I built my first thing in complete stealth, but you're out in the open, your site is there. Are you launched yet too, or are you still kind of
Yeah,
waiting?
I'm launching the pilot November, hopefully. Well, yeah, the first company I built was actually a jewelry company. I kind of built it completely in silence and then I launched it and it was like, hey, I was actually doing this for like a whole year. And it went like really good and like I got like media coverage and all of that, but I know that it would have been so much better if I was building in public. And so that's kind of what I did with Risk Me, like my dating app. I built it completely in public from like day one. I was like, I'm building this thing. And before I launched it, I was like talking about it everywhere. So when I launched it, everybody was on it because they already knew about it. Of course, with that came great, like, also like a lot of like, bad things. Like, if something doesn't work, they're like, oh, what do you even know? This and that. Like, you get to, if you're building in public, you're always going to be wrong. You're always going to be like, it's always going to be your problem. If something goes wrong, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you should never go do this. Like, why are you even in tech? Like, you have to understand that. But like, if you have a pretty like strong personality and you just don't care about that and people have bullied you all your life, you're good.
Yeah,
just do it. No, I think building in public is so much better because my whole like mission is like, look, I'm a human, I'm not perfect, and this might be a huge billion-dollar company and it might fail, and I'm ready for both outcomes of that. And I just want people to like learn from my mistakes and also like help me out, because when I'm building in public, you'd be surprised how many people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, I saw what you're building. Can I help? Like, we're doing this and that." And like when you're building alone, you're just like constantly doing research alone, and maybe just your friends and family know about it and they're always going to give you what you want to hear. But when you hear all these opinions, and even if they're bad, you start thinking, "Oh, maybe this person actually is right. Maybe I should change my UX. Maybe I should like create like an easier interface or XYZ." And it's actually like it's like free research for you. Like, you don't have to pay like researchers. Like, you're gonna get like a whole Twitter commentary about like why your product is good and why is it bad. It's like perfect.
yeah, it's great feedback. I mean, honestly, like it's so much better than when I was building in like just private, just hiding my idea, whatever. Just like no one even cares. Like the faster you get out there, the faster it'll be. You're building traction as you're doing it. So yeah, it's cool. I definitely agree with you. I like it a lot better. So I guess my
Also, like one more thing is like what's
yeah
interesting is like people on Twitter, like it's like because I was always in web too, right? I was always like in TikTok and Instagram, and like I know when people show their faces and their lives, and I know how their room looks. On Twitter, it's so interesting for me that nobody shows their face. Like, very rarely you know who's behind the face. Like, I might like encounter with these people like at a restaurant or
yeah
like in a subway, but I would never know that this is like, XYZ, blah blah blah, and it's like that's why I think like bullying on Twitter is so big, is because everybody's hiding behind their like
Two
little
PFPs.
picture.
Yeah, it's always like a very like nice looking PFP too. It's like a very
Yeah.
it's funny because it looks like very nice. You have like the big eyes, you have like the
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
like
it's
and
like,
then but the
oh,
words coming out are like, whoa man, that's very
yeah,
hostile.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It says Milady or whatever is like popular.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's definitely funny. I like it, but you're absolutely right. Like you don't know who's out there kind of in your vicinity, especially, but anyway, so I'm wondering. So I guess my last question to you is just, you know, what is kind of like the roadmap for the product you're building? Like, what's coming next? Will there be a token launch? How can I get whitelisted for the token launch?
There is no token launch coming. Do whatever you want with that information.
Yeah.
I'm tweeting that right now. Yeah, so this is my roadmap. So I'm getting, people for my first show. I want to do 3 dates, so it's 3 guys, 3 girls. Actually, a funny thing, it's so easy for me to find girls, very hard for me to find guys in crypto. So maybe if like anybody who's watching this and you have a trading audience and you want to go on a dating show and you live in New York, hit me up. So that hopefully is happening in November. We're going to be launching it on my friend's prediction market called Forecast GG. He specifies in live streaming gaming markets. So that's like perfect. So I get to be like the production company behind it. He gets to be the market who controls also the liquidity. And then after that, I plan to start building my own market and doing these like kind of like Netflix, like also providing in-house shows, but also like collaborating with any streamers and people who are doing like external shows on like live stream shows and providing that betting market specifically for these like fast markets and fast shows. So that's like my idea to do that. And my personal just practicing being a better trader every day, researching every day, talking to a lot of tradfi guys. They're like teaching me like everything about like XYZ, so that's very interesting. And yeah, just helping to onboard more women into prediction markets, hopefully maybe make some cool events. And yeah, if anybody watching and you want to start in prediction markets, are you a woman or a guy or whatever, hit me up. I would love to join, like add you to some cool groups where we teach you, help you learn. And if you have any questions, I would love to help out and teach you my 5 cents that I've so far learned.
Yeah, no, cool, cool. I mean, again, it was good having you on. I think we covered a lot
Thanks
of,
so much for inviting.
yeah, well, we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, and some good ideas were thrown around too. If anyone wants to
Remember
copy,
where you heard that.
yes, yep. But yeah, I think, yeah, if we, and I say this too, we want to create like an ongoing panel of people who can just come on, especially like when markets get really heated for these monitor the situation moments. So would love to get you back on too, maybe around November, because I know things are going to get crazy
Absolutely.
on November with all the election stuff. That I think there's like a ton of mayor elections going on, like just November 1st. So would love to get you back on for like some sort of panel with a couple other traders as well.
Let's do it. I would love
Yeah,
to.
yeah, I think it would be really cool. But yeah, but thanks for coming on, Evie. It was good
Thanks
having
so
you on.
much. I hope I yapped enough. You're
Yeah,
like,
it was
okay,
great.
I'm done. I don't want to hear anyone yap anymore.
No, 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 no. It was great. It was great.
Well,
Cool,
thanks so much. It was really cool coming on.
cool, cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna end the stream, and yeah, well, we'll see you. We'll see you later.
Thanks for everyone listening.